Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to another deck profile. If you like this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. After the video we put out on Monday where we looked at the death of the Digimon TCG, and that is a rhetorical question, or a question in general, not a statement. The game is very much still alive, still love it. There's just problems at the moment. But anyways, I wanted to take a little kind of duck away from meta stuff and decided to just do a little bit of a homebrew list. And the stuff I like to experiment with a lot of the time when I haven't bought a lot of product and I haven't built a lot of decks from a new set is to go back to my old friend, good old JumboGamemon. JumboGamemon is still one of my favourite cards in the whole game. Ever since it came out in BT13, I fell in love with it. I still remember the BT13 pre-release where I played with this card. I was like, oh my god, it just plays any level 5 from underneath it. That's really cool. And I have been kind of experimenting it loads of times. So I had a more like JumboDillo list where we use the Armadillo engine a little bit more heavily, and other things like that. And this is kind of like a mashup of that and Sukamon and Greymon 2, and I love it. It's great. So starting with the egg, we've got the EX10 Koromon here. So when attack targets change, draw 1. So if you're blocking something, if you're raiding into something, you are going to get a draw 1. A fantastic egg for JumboGamemon. In the same vein, it is fantastic for BlackWarGreymon, which is why we've kind of done this mashup of the two, because they do complement each other very, very well. Then we've got the Structure Deck 15 Agumon, start of main phase. If your opponent has a Digimon, gain 1 memory, and when an attack target is switched, you gain a memory as well. So we're gaining memory whenever we're doing that. We don't have the Agumon X in this. You could probably run it if you wanted to go for more of like an Agumon focus build, but to be honest, at that point you probably just want to play just BlackWarGreymon anyway, so we are not just playing this Agumon as our only Agumon. Then we've got the Espimon. So we've got 2 searchers in this deck. They're not perfect searchers, but they do search a fair whack. The Espimon reveals the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with blocker or 1 tamer card among them to the hand, and return the rest to the bottom of the deck. So this can add not a great deal, I'll be honest, in terms of the Digimon. It can add our Greymon, it can add our BlackWarGreymon and our Jumbo, but unfortunately that is it. But it does add our ties, which is pretty cool. But the best part about it is the opponent's turn inheritable. When the attack target is switched, draw 1 card, which is pretty neat. Then we've got the Armadillomon, which this one has a worse inheritable, at least in terms of the way this deck is built, but a much better searching effect for us, which is to reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 black or yellow card with 2 or more colours, and 1 tamer card with Cody, Heater in its name among them to the hand, and return the rest to the bottom of the deck. We're not playing any Codys in this deck. This is not really a a kind of an armadillo list. We could do that, absolutely. I've experimented with the armadillo list. I still love it. I've actually got a list for Armadillomon that I've been tempted to play in the next Jank Tank, and to be honest, I was kind of tempted to play this in the next Jank Tank as well, but I have finally settled on a deck which I'll be playing, and it is neither of those. The Armadillomon is great, and we can get the DNA off for one of our cards, and potentially, if you wanted to play maybe some different level 7s, like something like Ragnarlordmon, I've considered, then you could potentially use that end of turn DNA to DNA into Ragnarlord as well. So I would like to try that out, because I think that would be pretty cool. Next we go into our level 4s. We've got the Sukamon. This one is in here basically because it's super cheap, 3 costs, just slap it down, but also that security effect of just being played out straight from the security is actually really good. We have a couple of different security effects in our level 4 slots, and they are actually pretty important when they do come off. In fact, it comes up in the gameplay we'll be seeing. But the inheritable is also great, so if our stacks do die, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for the turn, which is not bad at all. Then we've got the Structure Deck 15 Greymon, so this does also have a security effect as well. You may play 1 Agumon or 1 tamer card with Tai Kamiya in its name from your hand or trash without paying the cost, so it just helps us either recur a body, or get our tamer out, which is not bad. It has blocker as well, and has the same inheritable as the Agumon, so we can get 2 memory if they are within the same stack. Then the other 2 level 4s we've got are the BT21 Greymon, and this is in here as one of our taunters. This is a taunting deck. We want to make sure that we are forcing them to attack when they don't want to, so we can gain a bunch of advantage. And the only problem with this one is it only does that if you've got Tai or an adventure trait tamer out. So hence I've only got this one at 2 copies. Our other taunts are a little bit more reliable. It does also have Reboot, which is a little bit redundant in terms of inheritable for both of our level 6s because they already have Reboot. But it's still there. You know, if we're on a Shakkoumon or an Etemon, then the Reboot is not bad. Then going into the level 5s, the first one is MetalGreymon from EX10. Has Reboot. On play when Digivolving, give one of your opponent's Digimon collision and start your main phase. This Digimon attacks until their turn ends, which is really nice. You know, just forcing them to attack in, and also putting them in a position where they also have to block us as well. So if we don't have a blocker out, then we force the block essentially. Then the inheritable effect, when attack targets change, if this Digimon has Greymon in its name, trash your opponent's top security card. So the only issue with that, of course, is JumboGamemon won't get that inheritable, but it's not the point. It's meant to, if it's underneath JumboGamemon, it's going to be coming out of JumboGamemon as they're coming to attack in, and then we're going to go into BlackWarGreymon, and then that's going to get the trash off with the redirect. Then our next level 5 is 3 copies of Shakkoumon. It's got the partition to go off into a level 4 and a level yellow. Level 4, 2 level 4s, 1 black level 4 and 1 yellow level 4. I don't know why that was so difficult to explain. Could be because I'm very tired. Who knows? But when Digivolving effect on this guy, until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon isn't affected by the effects of their Digimon, which is great. Gives us kind of a form of immunity with this. Then if DNA Digivolving, place one of your opponent's Digimon with as high or lower as a level as the number of cards in your or their security stack at the bottom of their security stack. So you just get a little bit of removal based around the security. You know, you're not usually going to be getting rid of anything too big with that, but in the early game where you're just going to getting rid of smaller bodies, it's pretty good. And it also has the partition as an inheritable as well. Then our last level 5 is another taunter in this deck, which is Etemon. Etemon essentially, sorry, my mouse has got like drag at the moment, I swear. We've got the on play when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP and gains start of your main phase. This Digimon attacks. So we make them smaller, we force them to attack. Great for us, you know, because obviously we're not playing any level 7s in this. We do have ways of boosting our DP, but you know, if they've got a level 7 and we need to force that to attack, then making sure that we're bigger than it is very, very helpful. It does also have an opponent's turn effect of when an opponent's Digimon attacks, you may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may play 1 black or yellow Digimon card with a play cost of 3 or less among them without paying the cost, trash the rest. And that is a fairly risky inheritable in this, because our only 3 costs are going to be these guys in the level 3 slot and the Sukamons, and that's it. Everything else is too high of a cost, but it does go off more than you think, especially because of the fact we've got so many drawing cards in this, like the Koromon, like the Espimon, you know, our Tai as well. We do deck cycle quite a lot, so a lot of the time we're not too worried if we trash our big boys. Speaking of the big boys, first one I'm going to go into is actually the JumboGamemon. Blocker, opponent's turn effect. When the opponent's Digimon attacks, we play 1 level 5 or lower Digimon card from this Digimon's Digivolution cards without paying the cost. So you force them to attack in, then you pop out your level 5, and then you're immediately going to go into BlackWarGreymon Ace. This is probably the deadliest Ace we've had access to for this kind of JumboGamemon Shenanigans kind of stuff. I used to play MetalGreymon Ace in this. And I think I've also tried like WarGreymon Ace, and I think a couple of others. The MetalGreymon was pretty good in the kind of more Armadillo focused build of this. I had that JumboGamemon, and then they DNA into Agumon. That was pretty cool. But the BlackWarGreymon is just such a good card. I mean, man, it's so good. He's my favourite Digimon as well, so, you know, it's just bonus points. Raid, Reboot, Blocker. On play when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's play cost 7 or lower Digimon or Tamers. All turns while your opponent has a Digimon with 30,000 DP or more, your opponent's Digimon effects don't affect this Digimon, and it gets 3,000 DP. So it just becomes massive. It gets rid of Tamers. It gets rid of Digimon. It's great. It's a great, great card. I think we all know how good BlackWarGreymon is and how annoying it is to deal with as well, because of the fact that the moment you give it that threshold, it's just going to get immune to you, which is really, really good for us at the very least. Very annoying for other people, and you know, with the video we did on Monday, Digimon effect immunity is quite rampant, and this is one of those cards that is rampant with it. But we play with the cards we are dealt. We want to try and enjoy them as best as we can, even if we do see them as a little bit problematic for the game. But that's a different discussion. Go see that video if you haven't. Anyways, next card to go into, because we're not playing any level 7s. Like I said, you could play something like Armadillomon, or maybe Quartzmon Ace would be good. You know, those sorts of things would be great. But we've got 4 copies of Tai. I did consider putting in what's her name? BT22 Yuko. But she would only give Digimon Effect Immunity to our BlackWarGreymon, which, to be fair, is not bad. But I just went with the Tai because we want to be cycling through. This deck has got a lot of draw, which is really nice. So having a memory setter that's also going to give us a little boost and also get us a draw whenever we are redirecting is very nice. And then in terms of the options, we've got 1 copy of the Trident Arm from ST15, D-Digivolve 3, one of your opponent's Digimon, then until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gains, start of your main phase, this Digimon attacks. Another way of taunting. If you didn't want to play something with such a high cost, you could go Laplace's Demon for just 1 cost as well. But I went with this one because D-Digivolve is quite important in this meta, and an option that, you know, options in general aren't as ignorable in terms of their effects as Digimon effects are. And, you know, for a blacklist, we don't have a lot of Digivolve, so I figured we would do this because it makes things much, much smaller for us to deal with. But like I say, you could very well go for something like Laplace's Demon instead, especially because unlike Laplace's Demon, Trident Arm in the security doesn't get added to your hand. It just does a D-Digivolve 3, whereas Laplace's Demon will go to your hand if it gets hit in security. So there is that. And then we've got 2 copies of Black Scramble. This just, of course, is going to let us just do some trash recursion. We can mill ourselves out because we've got so much draw, so having the Scrambles in here just to help us with that is very nice. You know, you're going to be able to make your costs a little bit more reduced as well. And on top of that, you know, have that playing out ability, you know, with the start of your turn effect. Then the last card we've got is 4 copies of Defense Training, just to give us another searcher and another way of reducing stuff. Like I said, this is a very consistent list with a lot of draw, a lot of good searchers, not perfect searchers, like I said, but overall very good, and it is a very fun list. Now we're going to go into some gameplay of this one, going up against a Boltmon player. And obviously Boltmon is not that great, but as a little teaser of what you're about to see, here is an image of this against a Imperial Dramon player, which was crazy. Like, you know, I also beat a magnetic Dramon player just before shooting this video. You know, so this is quite a crazy list, actually. It's way better than I thought it would be. But anyways, let's now head into the gameplay. Right, and here we go into the gameplay, and we are up against Boltmon, which is not typically considered a very competitive deck, but it does have some decent tricks. It can get really big, it has lots of removal, alliance shenanigans, play stuff out, and it's a cool deck. I love this deck. I play it myself. Right, but the opponent's going to start us goes into the Debimeramon and then into the BT20 Candlemon to then go into the Wisdom Training and add Jimmy-Ken. We are going to then respond in turn, going to our Espimon in the back, and we are going to search with the Armadillomon, grabbing the EX5 Etemon as it is the only target, and put the rest to the bottom. So that leaves them on 1, kind of putting them in a position where they kind of need to use the Wisdom Training to kind of retain turn. They are then having a little wonder on what to do. And we are just looking at cards whilst we're here. There's Koromon. Koromon's nice. And in that time, they move up. They're then going to use their Wisdom Training to go into the Meramon. Meramon has the main effect to pay 2, give itself Raid and Piercing, and then swing on in. And it goes Raid and Piercing into the Armadillomon, and survives as well, because it was an Espimon. So that's pretty nice for them. We are then just simply going to go in the back into our Sukamon. We're biding our time. We're not really in any danger right now. So let's just give them the least memory possible and just do safe things here. They're going to go into the Candlemon in the back, which I think is the BT15 one. I don't personally run that one myself, but it is quite a good option for the deck. I think in place of that, I run I want to say it's the ST15 one, this the one from Beelzemon. But they then swing in, hit a Black Scramble. This is the Meramon that never dies. We go to the Armadillomon, grabbing a Sukamon, because again, only target. And that is then going to lead them to go into their memory boost, do another search, put that in the back. And now we can finally start moving somewhere, because 2 memory actually is quite a lot for us, given how cheap everything is for us. So we're going to go into our Greymon, get that little memory gain inheritable going, go into the Shakkoumon, give ourselves the Digimon effect immunity, and also pop that Meramon into security, because they have enough security to allow us to do that. We are then going to use the Scramble to cheapen our evolution and go up into JumboGamemon for a reduced cost. We are still leaving them on 4, which given their memory boost is quite a lot, but we are immune to Digimon effects. If they attack in, we can play out our Shakkoumon and go into BlackWarGreymon and give them a really bad time. But they're now going to go into the Meramon after doing their memory boost and gaining that 2 memory. We've got quite a large stack here thanks to that DNA, with lots of different effects under us as well. They're going to go into Skull Meramon, use the main effect, which is kind of an odd thing to do, I'll say. So we actually didn't go, let's go Armadillomon, you know, off we go. So the reason why they're doing this, of course, is kind of to get more draw, because they get draw 2 from this, and then I believe they have to trash something as well. But this also does fill up their trash for their Boltmon assembly. So that is, you know, fairly cool. You know, they knew that they weren't going to swing past JumboGamemon, so let's use it as an opportunity to get us into the trash. We, of course, gain a memory and gain a couple of draws from that, which is not bad in the slightest. And then we are going to go on to our turn. And hatching our Koromon, we're going to then go into the Agumon in the back just to give us an extra dude. We're then going to Digivolve, I believe, into Greymon on top of the Armadillomon. Yep. So Greymon onto the Armadillomon. More memory is always good. Swing in with our JumboGamemon. We're pretty safe to just swing in with our JumboGamemon because we know we're going to clear pretty much everything. Then going to DNA after playing out our Sukamon into another Shakkoumon, which is going to have some Digimon effect immunity and just going to be chilling there. You know, if he does manage to play anything out, we could go to a BlackWarGreymon and just make his day really bad. He's then going to go into the Candlemon in the back with the on top of the Demi-Meramon, and then he's going to play out the memory boost to leave us on 1, which kind of sucks. And that is going to be that. So onto our turn. I leave the Agumon in the back because I think it's not in our best interest to push that out now. So instead, we're going to swing in with JumboGamemon first, because again, we are 13k. The biggest thing that Boltmon's going to play is 12k, so we know we're going to clear everything. And we just slap down the Tai just to give us a memory tamer to stop them choking us, because they've been choking us a lot, and I don't necessarily like being choked. It's, you know, it's not pleasant. They are then going to push up their Candlemon, go into the Devimon to play out Jimmy Ken. So they are really getting ready to go for it. And they're now going to go, I believe, into the assembly of Boltmon, I think is what they do next. Eventually, maybe, possibly. Is that what they did? Is that what they're going to do? They're just kind of sitting there biding their time at the moment. Even in there you go. So there comes the Boltmon. Out it comes with that assembly. So puts everything underneath it, all this sort of stuff. And ordinarily, I think this play would be good because of the fact that they are going to use the Raiden piercing one to swing into JumboGamemon, become bigger than us, get Alliance as well from the Inheritable of the Blue Meramon, and on top of that, they pop our Shakkoumon. However, certain things are a problem for them in this instance. So, first of all, we are going to partition when they attempt to delete the Shakkoumon, so we've now got more bodies on board. Then, on top of that, we are going to go ahead and play out the Shakkoumon from underneath us, which is going to get rid of our JumboGamemon's partition, but that's not too bad. Bearing in mind, we can now ace into BlackWarGreymon. Now, we could delete the Devimon here, but because I figured it would be you know, another turn or so, I figured getting rid of the Jimmy Ken would probably be the better play. We're then going to block with Greymon to stop JumboGamemon from dying, gain a memory, gain a couple of draws, gain a 2k and a draw as well, which we're going to give that 2k to Sukamon because he really needs that boost. He's not been hitting the gym. Then 2 checks in, and he actually hits a Sukamon, which is really bad for them because now we've got 5 bodies coming their way next turn. So we actually are just going to go for it and win this turn, which is complete RNG. But I think we would have just controlled the board otherwise. You know, I don't think we were really in any danger here. But we're going to swing on in with Jumbo, with Sukamon, with our other Sukamon, swing in with the Agumon as well, and then off into the BlackWarGreymon to swing for game. But that is the gameplay, guys. Really love this deck. I love JumboGamemon. I always love experimenting with it every couple of formats. And it is just a really fun deck of that I just love JumboGamemon. Like, props to all of the Jumbo chess players that kind of, you know, showed me that Jumbo could be something special. And now, you know, this deck's here, and I really love it. Granted, that was against Boltmon, and like I said, Boltmon is not that competitive, but you know, the fact that we managed to beat an Imperial Dramon player with it, we've beaten Magnetic Dramon with it. We have beaten some pretty strong decks with this, so I'm pretty proud of this cook. But let me know what you guys think, and like and subscribe and ding that notification bell. You know, let us know what sort of decks you guys want to see, what other videos you want. I've been working on a couple of scripts for videos next week, which hopefully I will get out to you. I think it'll probably be a slight delay, probably Wednesday and Friday next week. I reckon they might come out. But we'll see. I think one of those videos is going to be something a little bit more positive than last week's Death of Digimon video, and the other one I'm probably going to look into the BT23 support for Raw Knights, and try and do something with that. As much as I hate discussing Raw Knights of any kind, but anyways, I'm rambling. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you again on the next video, whenever and whatever that may be. But until then, keep it digital.